Hey everybody, Charlie Niner 2 here, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We last left off, we were doing our summation examination of the jurors. We've reached juror number 4 here, which we know to be Joan, who is the wife of the retired military man who rented out the apartment to our defendant, or the accused, whichever they prefer to call him here. So we're going to continue with our pressing of her comments and see what we can get to. Whatever is the matter, young man? You're the wife of Mr. Garadeb, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume his room. The master's wife? Where do you get your ideas, sir? I'm the maid you understand. She's keeping up that charade? Ugh, this is going to be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you'd been selected for the jury in this trial, I mean. Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It was in the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice. I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant, takes lodging in your master's house, doesn't he? Yes, that's right. Although he's only been in a little over a week now. And in that time, surely he must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit a crime such as this? Oh my goodness me, yes, he's just the sort. What? Spending all his time in that dark and dingy room sporting that unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks, and don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something. Oh dear, poor Mr. Natsume. How could people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm, nothing more. Well, you just called him a worm, so... Anyway, I better be careful about inviting this maid to speak. She said enough damning things already. I really don't care. Can we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing.
Hold it!
What is your work? Man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes. Don't click clever with me now. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's. Ah. The likes of you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and kids. Oh, I see. That must be very hard. I go to the union every morning to find out what needs doing. If you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left, right, and center. They're after cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn till dusk, it is. So you were out digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you? That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just round the corner from where it all happened. By that old bookshop it was. What? Another coincidence? That's right. Mearsham Street it was. Mearsham Street. On the map, Mr. Naruhodo, there are only 3 named streets. Juror number 5, I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please. What's the point in that? Can we just get this business over with now? Because it puts into contention the route he took home. Please, sir, it's important. Tisk, fine, I'll do it then. On the day it happened, I was digging up Mearsham Street from dawn till dusk. So he would have seen him walk by. Your books, yes, nice shop, that, but bourbon books? Not worth a visit. Let's press this.
Hold it!
Sorry? Fold it, you say? Fold what? No, what I said was hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often? I like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're talking about. And at what time did you visit your books on the day in question? Well, I was picking out books in there all afternoon, and it would have been just before 5 that I left. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're talking about. Just before 5, you say, exactly when the victim was attacked. Are you sure about the time? He's in a green overcoat. Oh yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry. Not after the dreadful time I had. He fell. What do you mean? Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and donked my head. It's always worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's most slippery. Knocked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up. Wait a minute, let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road? That's right. I live on Cornpipe, you see. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your books. Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your formal statement. It may very well be extremely significant. Sorry? Extremely sick? No, I'm quite all right. Sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt. But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective. I agree. It's the irrelevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate Mr. Natsume of anything. That's something. We must use that to our advantage, Mr. Naruhodo, cunningly. Yes, you're right. Let's listen to the jurors again carefully. If any of their assertions are at odds, I'll pit them mercilessly against each other. Yes, don't hold back. Pit them all against each other. Okay, I think I have the 4. It's not him. She says that a woman in green, but it could have been the juror number 6 in green. So we're going to press her.
Hold it!
You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him. Well, quite, that's precisely my point. Clearly, that someone wearing a green was the victim. And clearly, that funny little Japanese man with the disturbing mustache is the culprit. But let us not forget, madam, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman. Why, of course he does. If he admits stabbing her, his life is over. The man is obviously a liver-faced coward, honestly claiming the woman simply collapsed before his eyes. But if that's a lie, as you're suggesting, do you not think he would have concocted something more credible? We've said all this before. Oh, I really couldn't say. Oh, I pressed the wrong button, didn't I? After all, you are foreign. Who's to say what goes through your funny little minds? I could tell you what's going through my mind. I do declare the man has already made the admission. He himself has stated there was nobody else around. Surely the conclusion is obvious. No one else could have possibly committed this awful crime. Ugh. If no one else could have done it, the accused must be the man. Really couldn't be more simple. The judge will say he agrees. You were too kind. That went well for her. Did I press the wrong button? Yeah, I did. I pressed press instead of pit. I want to pit her against him because he has a green overcoat, looks like a woman, and was at your books. Pit.
Objection!
The two statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning. A flaw? What are you talking about, counsel? Well, juror number 2? Juror number 6? Whatever do you mean, sir? I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you. Unbelievable. It's not like it was loud or anything. There's at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack, I like the pacing here, he had been to your books and purchased a number of secondhand titles. He then returned home on foot. But the man says he has no recollection of his return journey. That's correct, but what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes. Yes, we are all aware of this. Poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Objection!
Can we really be sure of that, madam? Whatever do you mean? I'm sure you heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him on that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood. Oh my. Exclamation point. My goodness, you mean... That's right. I'm referring, of course, to hard of hearing juror number 6. Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the jolly old gentleman on the end of the bench here with me today? That's entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has somewhat similar build to the victim. Well, look at that. My goodness me. Huh? Sorry? You need a pee? Sorry for the hiccup. And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell. On Calabash Road. Therefore, if the person who Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6, it means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly, the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home. Oh my. You idiot old man, if you hadn't been so daft as to be roaming about there, we would have boxed this off hours ago. And really, what were you thinking wearing such a befuddling coat? What did you say to me? Oh, he is pissed. He's big mad. Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat? Is it? Hold it. Gotta powder her face. My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but you'd like to change your leaning, I presume? I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty. Thank you. And I would too. What? Is it a crime to change your mind? Is it? Well, he is pissed. Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. That was wonderful. Well, we've managed to change a couple of minds at least. It strengthened our position somewhat. Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stances as well. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if only we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that would make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume. I've already found it. We might be able to tip the balance completely. Yes, that's exactly what we've got to do. Van Zykes is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent by whatever means we have at our disposal. Ellipses. Thank you, counsel. On with the summation examination, please. Yes, my lord. Okay, so we need to go and we need to pit you against you. Right?
Objection!
Those two statements are clearly at odds with one another. At odds, counsel? Explain yourself. Please, don't point. It wasn't me, I swear. Whoa, he is like bowing up to us. What? I just want to get this done and dusted. Well, juror number 3. Oh, me, sir? What do you mean? Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implication of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of secondhand books. And on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Meerschaum Street, making it impassable. Which means that the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Meerschaum Street and down Briar Road. Oh, yes, of course. But what do you think, sir? Well, yeah, you can't argue with that, really, can you? We must have had a good 2 yards or more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way. So the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have. I suppose that might be right, eh? Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop. But we see now that he had no choice. Yes. My lord Mr. Judge, sir, if I may? Yes? I don't think in all good conscience that I can say the man's guilty now. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so that we can get to the bottom of what really happened. Not guilty. What about you, sir? Yeah, who, me? Well, all right then. If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in. That's what I say. Looks like we've done it. Well, that summation examination has concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The ayes 2, the noes 4. So the noes have it, not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
Break your chalice. How you gonna break it now? Could it seem churlish of me to drink from my hallowed chalice moments after raising an objection? Only to crush it in disgust? Pray, forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van Zykes? I don't know why I used his voice for that. It seems I must retract my earlier remark. What do you mean? I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. So now you're just going to piss off the jurors? Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer. Yeah? Whatever do you mean?
Objection!
I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I've said is the truth. Indeed, stalwart juror number 5 was undoubtedly repairing the road as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you had excavated, sir. That's right, took me the whole day and they paid me a measly 2pence for it. Now, my learned Nipponese friend, tell me, do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents? Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue, no. 2 yards is a little less than 2 meters. Less than 2 meters. That's not much at all. In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor. Are you suggesting he jumped over it? Would you not agree, my stalwart friend? To jump 6 feet? I don't think the little dude has it in him. Yeah, me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no. What? And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works? Yeah, I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have had a hope of passing anyway, and we just turn around any gentlefolk back when they come. Kids just jump right over us all the time. The accused is no gentleman as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town. I really feel like he would remember that. Ah, is that true? Is it? The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt on his way back to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road. Ugh, crushed in a single sentence. And, old man. Cold man? You can talk. You say that around 5 o'clock on the day in question, you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese behind you at the time? Oh, I can't say I remember. You don't remember? How about a wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man the accused saw. But I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it. Arg. Order, order. Lord Van Zykes, explain yourself. My lord? If you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer it during the summation examination? I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. Ugh. But my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel. You just throw off your cloak? So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over. What? What are you talking about? My lord. The prosecution requests permission to call its next witnesses to the stand. Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witnesses. Its next witnesses? Mr. Naruhodo, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident. Yes, I remember, one of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less. I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness. All right, no matter who Van Zykes brings to the stand as his witness, and no matter what they say, I believe in Soseki-san. I know he's innocent. And I'll keep believing to the very end, until this battle's over. Really, you're the... Every time they introduce new people, I can't think that they can get more absurd. But here we are. Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. Look at this guy. And what is going on here? It's like a Steven Universe character over there. Constable Roly beat, sa. Nothing to report on the streets, sa. And you fall asleep. With your beat up helmet. Weird. And I'm Mrs. Beat. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say I'm the young town hero's wife. Okay. Y'all don't look old enough, but all right. Roly. What's the story here? Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day. You know, we're both wearing the same scarves. No. It was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired. Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. I don't think it's the most demanding work in the world. I mean, given the fact that there are coal miners and such. Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually. Indeed, apart from rare days off, our gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day, you know? They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check that meters are reading true, and they're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting and extinguishing our streetlights. There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all. I wouldn't just be falling asleep on my feet, I'd have collapsed long ago. But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honor. And a man of slumber. On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat? That's right, isn't it, Roly? Constable Roly Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the streets, sir. What a great witness he's gonna be. I like the little fanfare music he gets. Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon of the incident. Yes, sir. And he's back to sleep. Witness testimony. What the witnesses saw. It was our wedding anniversary, and Roly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, then the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight over, of course, then went for help at a nearby police box. Based on what she says, it sounds like somebody deliberately scattered something. So it could very well be that he dropped his books and ran off when he saw the old man fall. And then the real murderer grabbed those books and planted them at the crime scene in an attempt to get him arrested. Possibly. We ran straight over, of course, and then went for help at a nearby police box. It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Roly and I both saw him clear as day. There's no way you could have saw him clear as day. There was London fog. Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I must say. Exclamation point. Oh dear, this policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene. If their testimony is true, the alternative course of events that you established in the summation examination will be quashed. It's death knell, in fact. Because that alternative was never viable in the first place. What an unfortunate bechancing. And on your wedding anniversary, too. Oh, I know. But I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that. Gosh, the life of a London bobby sounds very hard indeed. Indeed. However, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without doubt the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. And one of these witnesses is a policeman, no doubt. So you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure. Except that the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking. Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense. Commence the cross-examination, please. Yes, my lord. Cross-examination. What the witnesses saw. It was our wedding anniversary and Roly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Press. No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the police, Miss Beat? Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply. Well, I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can't you? I think Roly looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It shoots you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling? Huh? What? I just finished my beat. Pat and I were heading back to the station. I was actually planning on getting changed there. Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy. Oh no, Roly. I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes. Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy. Kindly adhere to the point. You were going for a meal after you'd finished your beat for the day, correct? That's right, Si, yes, although I was fit to drop, to be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, Si. As long as I'm the proud owner of this, I'll serve my city and my queen to the end. What is that? What's that now? A warrant card, Si. Proof that I'm a London copper. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it, as a reminder to all us policemen of our sworn duty. To patrol the streets of London town and uphold the peace of the common man. Sigh. And for such a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day without fail and without a grumble. Because I know that the plodding of my boots is all Londoners need to hear to feel safe and secure. So, fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then. But sigh, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Miss Beat puts up with a lot of being married to a bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. Oh, Pat. Oh, Roly. Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy to behold. If a little over the top, perhaps. And then, kindly describe what happened next. All right, now we're on to the next part of the statement. That's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my content, please consider a like, a comment, and or a subscribe. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.